From famous cinematic chameleons who went wild even for their own beguiling standards, to relatively unadventurous A-listers who decided to surprise everyone totally out of nowhere. These 10 actors all ambitiously played completely opposed characters one after another. So I am Gareth here from Whatculture.com, and here are actors who gave 2 wildly different performances in the same year. Gary Oldman, Nobody's Baby, and Hannibal. Granted, Gary Oldman is well established as one of cinema's all-time great chameleons, an actor who's never turned down the chance to pull an about-turn and do something totally different. And while you could cherry-pick countless two-handers from Oldman's body of work that ran totally opposite, the most extreme example surely occurred in 2001. Oldman first appeared in the dramedy Nobody's Baby, playing crass, scarcely recognisable goofball criminal Buford Bill. Except Oldman's actually positively recognisable here compared to his performance in a movie that released barely 2 weeks after Nobody's Baby's Sundance premiere, Hannibal. In Ridley Scott's sequel to The Silence of the Lambs, Oldman appears briefly as Mason Verger, a skin-crawlingly creepy child molester and the only surviving, albeit horribly disfigured victim of Hannibal Lecter. Entombed within a ton of facial prosthetics, Oldman is damn near impossible to spot. All the more so given that he was even uncredited on Hannibal's original theatrical release. Beyond superficial aesthetics though, these films both see Oldman acting in very different gears. One inclined towards broad, larger-than-life comedy, the other towards human monstrosity.
Film and TV is cool, but you know what else is cool? Protecting your privacy online. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and get up to 76% off a 2-year NordVPN plan, plus 3 months free if you sign up today. I'd make that deal. Damn good deal.
Tom Cruise, Magnolia, and Eyes Wide Shut. Though Tom Cruise enjoyed the mightiest box office success of his career with Top Gun Maverick, in purely artistic terms, there's no topping his absolutely spectacular 1999, where he worked with 2 legendary auteurs on 2 very different movies, nevertheless centered around similar themes. In the summer of that year, Cruise starred in Stanley Kubrick's final film, Eyes Wide Shut, where he played Dr. Bill Harford, a man rather ineffectually reckoning with the revelation that his wife considered cheating on him a year prior. At the end of 1999, Cruise then appeared in Paul Thomas Anderson's sprawling epic Magnolia, portraying motivational speaker and pickup artist Frank T.J. Mackey, for which he received a Best Supporting Oscar nomination. On the face of it, Harford and Mackey are 2 very different sides of the same masculine coin. One a sexually neutered man struggling to find agency, the other a man who professes to be the epitome of it. The only real commonality of the 2 performances is that in both roles Cruise plays characters who present themselves as superficially slick and suave from the exterior, only to reveal something decidedly more fragile beneath the surface. Now I've got a quick question for you. What's your favourite Tom Cruise performance? One of these or something else? Let me know in the comment section down below, my friends. Jennifer Aniston, rumour has it, and Derailed. Though Jennifer Aniston is unquestionably best known for her role as Rachel on Friends, and her movie career is largely defined by a glut of fizzy rom-coms, she's occasionally dipped her toe into more challenging and unexpected fare. Case in point, within 6 weeks of one another in 2005, Aniston starred in 2 films of wildly different tones, which in turn required her to give 2 markedly different performances. On one hand, there's Rob Reiner's ultra-typical rom-com Rumour Has It, which didn't really ask Aniston to do anything but play her regularly charming self. But on the other hand, Aniston played the female lead in crime thriller Derailed. Because the genre leap wasn't enough of a surprise for audiences, it also turned out there was far more to her character than initially suggested. Ultimately, it's clear that Aniston was cast in the Derailed role precisely because of her good girl image. Having her star in 2 entirely antithetical movies barely a month apart was basically a marketing masterstroke. Not that it helped Rumour Has It recoup its gargantuan $70 million budget, mind. Sarah Michelle Gellar simply irresistible and cruel intentions. Sarah Michelle Gellar's characters in 2 movies released at the start of 1999 may look superficially similar, 2 beautiful, well-dressed brunette women, but there's a whole world between them. First up, a week before Valentine's Day, the Buffy actress starred in the magical realist rom-com Simply Irresistible. Gellar played a young woman by the name of Amanda Shelton, who with the help of a magical crab, yep, you heard that right, is able to cook dishes which bring out strong emotions in anyone who eats them. Yep, Exactly a month later, however, Gellar gave a far more memorable performance in an altogether more iconic movie, classic teen romantic drama Cruel Intentions. Here, Gellar played a far cry from the butter wouldn't melt Amanda. Catherine was a drug-taking, highly sexed, conniving young woman, hell-bent on doing anything to get what she wanted. It was a performance quite unlike any Gellar had given before, and as such proved rather eye-opening for those more familiar with her vampire-hunting heroics on Buffy, let alone anyone who paid a ticket to watch her frothy rom-com jaunt a month prior. Daniel Day-Lewis, My Beautiful Laundrette, and A Room with a View. Daniel Day-Lewis is quite rightly canonised as one of our greatest actors. But back in 1985, audiences had no idea they were about to be introduced to a venerable master of the form. Day-Lewis's big breakthrough came in November 1985, when he starred in the romantic dramedy My Beautiful Laundrette, playing gay street punk Johnny Barefoot. The same day that the film had its limited release in the US, a second movie starring Day-Lewis also hit screens, James Ivory's romantic drama A Room with a View. Here, Day-Lewis instead took the role of Cecil Vyse, the unbearably snobby, pretentious fiancée of the movie's main character Lucy Honeychurch. Day-Lewis again received wide acclaim for his A Room with a View performance, with many critics noting how both distinct roles showcased his versatility as a performer. Most famously, Roger Ebert spoke of the duality in his review of My Beautiful Laundrette, saying, "The character of Johnny may cause you to blink if you've just seen the wonderful A Room with a View." He is played by Daniel Day-Lewis, the same actor who, in Room, plays the heroine's affected fiancée, Cecil. Seeing these two performances side by side is an affirmation of the miracle of acting. That one man could play these two opposites is astonishing. High praise indeed. Shelley, Duvall, Popeye, and The Shining. After being put through near literal hell on Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, it's little surprise that Shelley Duvall followed it up with something decidedly frothier. Robert Altman's infamous musical comedy Popeye. In The Shining, Duvall played Jack Torrance's long-suffering, evidently deeply traumatized wife, Wendy, a victim with a capital V, who nevertheless musters the wherewithal to extricate herself and her son Danny from Jack's psychopathic grasp. In Popeye, Duvall also played the central love interest and mother character, albeit in distinctly less combative terms, this time as the lover of Robin Williams' Popeye the Sailor Man. While The Shining saw Kubrick allegedly bully Duvall to the point that she had a legitimate psychotic break while shooting the movie, Duvall's work with Altman was decidedly lighter. She didn't need to brandish a knife nor play perpetually terrified, but instead sang her heart out and goofed around with one of cinema's all-time comedic greats, Jim Carrey, A Christmas Carol, and I Love You, Philip Morris. Much like Gary Oldman, Jim Carrey is a certified master of disguise, and clearly relishes any opportunity to surprise audiences with something totally unexpected. And that he certainly did in 2009, when he first appeared in the black comedy I Love You, Philip Morris, and portrayed real-life gay con artist and prison escapee Stephen J. Russell. It was in of itself quite unlike any role Carrey had previously played, a contrast which only proved more evident when, at year's end, he starred in Robert Zemeckis' A Christmas Carol. Even accepting that there's obviously a chasm of difference between playing a gay conman and the grouchy Ebenezer Scrooge, not to ignore the various ghosts of Christmas who Carrey also portrays throughout Zemeckis' film, the assignments were also totally different on a technical level. I Love You, Philip Morris was a far more conventional acting assignment for Carrey in filmmaking terms, whereas A Christmas Carol saw Zemeckis once again attempting to push the boundaries of CGI, with Carrey delivering his entire performance through cutting-edge motion capture tech. Natalie Portman, Garden State, and Closer. In 2004, the year before the Star Wars prequel trilogy was due to release its climactic installment, Natalie Portman made a concerted attempt to prove to Hollywood and audiences that she had true dramatic chops. Chops which weren't even remotely appreciated on George Lucas's space opera triptych. In the summer of 2004, Portman played the female lead in Zach Braff's directorial debut, Garden State, with her deeply eccentric character, Sam, basically epitomizing what would in later years be termed the manic pixie dream girl. Cute, quirky, and absolutely unlike any who actually exists in real life. At year's end, conversely, Portman appeared in Mike Nichols' drama Closer, playing a decidedly more out there and less bookish character, a former stripper by the name of Alice, and later revealed to actually be named Jane. Spoiler, sorry. For Portman to go from playing a charming girl next door type to a sexually confident, outgoing schemer was truly head-spinning to watch, with the latter proving persuasively eye-opening enough that Portman received a Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination for her transformative work. Bruce Willis, Die Hard 2, and Look Who's Talking To. In 1990, Bruce Willis appeared in 2 movie sequels which were diametrically opposed in basically every way that a movie can be. In the summer of that year, Willis reprised the role of resourceful, wisecracking detective John McClane for action sequel Die Hard 2. At the end of 1990, he also returned to voice young Mikey in rom-com Look Who's Talking To. There are a few obvious disparities between these 2 parts. One is a live-action role, while the other was a voiceover. And most crucially, one sees Willis shooting terrorists in the head, and the other pits him as a baby coming to terms with the arrival of a baby sister. It's a fitting dichotomy of projects given that Die Hard initially represented a major career overhaul for Willis, breaking away from his noted comedy roles and establishing himself as a convincing everyman action hero. By starring in sequels to both a testosterone-fueled action flick and a cute family comedy in the very same year, Willis proved he could have it all, reflected by both movies proving successful at the box office. Bruce is the man, baby.